We should also be cautious about the motivation of the one who provides information. That's why the scriptures warn us against priestcraft. And young women, please understand that if you dress immodestly, you are magnifying this problem by becoming pornography.
Travis Wayne Goodsall, Deuteronomy 19, starting in verse 16. Deuteronomy is the law of the Jews. Laws are kind of important to obey. If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Lord, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition, and behold, if the witness be a false witness, and hath testified falsely against his brother, then shall ye do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. This is what's also called, as I title it, the Law of Purim. It's a Jewish holy day in which is a remembrance of the book of Esther, in which a bad guy created a weapon to be used against the Jews, and Esther, being the queen, risked her life to notify the king that she is going to be murdered with this new law that the bad guy who made the weapon had made. And therefore, hang skin. It's not a hang nail. Always happens after cutting my nails. And it's going to bug me until I get it. And so thus, the weapon that the enemy made was the weapon that was used on him as the false accuser, and issuing the particular punishment of death. And so this is where people misinterpret eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, hand for a hand, foot for a foot, hair for hair, toenail for toenail, fingernail for finger flesh. And so nobody then makes the connection with Matthew about judging people. Everybody assumes that it means judge not, and they end there. Nope. Keep reading. Keep reading. So the first one that they bring up is, why beholdest thou the mote, which is a tiny little sliver, that is in thy brother's eye? Judging. You're judging falsely somebody else of a minor issue that is not an issue. Molehill, mountain out of a molehill is also a revision of this. But considerest not the beam, the support beams of a house that is in your eye, because you made a false judgment. And so it's telling you to cut it out. Recognize that you are the one who's guilty of what you are projecting upon somebody else falsely. And then you can see clearly how to judge other people righteously, when you yourself are not guilty of what you accuse others. And you can see if they are truly in need of correction. So then we get to 15. This is how you judge Nelson, Oaks, Hiring, Holland, all the way down. You're supposed to, because there's a warning. Beware of false prophets. Uh-oh. See, the Pope doesn't claim to be a prophet, so I guess we can't judge him. And my neighbor, oh man, he's not a prophet, but I really want to judge him. That Travis guy, I want to judge him. Pay attention. You're about to be schooled by the Bible you claim is true. Which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. So they pretend to be righteous and true. They say the words, we're true, obey us, but they're not. They're false. So Mormons can't make the excuse, well, the prophets are true because they say they're true. That makes you a sheeple. Ready for dinner. You shall know them. Judge them by their fruits. And so it's talking about different kinds of fruits mixed with weeds. Grapes and thorns, figs and thistles. And it says, if it's a good tree, it will bring forth good fruit. And a tree comes from a seed. So the seed is the word. The tree is the appearance. The fruit is the results of their word. Real simple. Not complicated. We are supposed to judge the word. Even the Bible's word, we got to judge it. There could be mistranslations. But I have tested this. I know it is true. And so, if the word is true, it will result in good things. If the word is false, it will result in being exposed as a lie or a corruption or greed for priestcraft. Right, Oaks? And so, therefore, by their fruits ye shall know them. Judge them. Doesn't matter if you're an atheist, I can still judge your words. And so, Alma 10. There we go. No. Come on. Alma 12? It is Alma 12. Okay. So, yeah, and then 13 is the priesthood. Okay. Alma, chapter 12. Bruce R. McConkie wrote the chapter headings. And so he puts, Alma contends with Zeezrom, an antichrist. Words. Going back and forth. Who's right? Who's wrong? Well, obviously Zeezrom is, Alma. The mysteries of God can be given only to the faithful. Bruce, mysteries are the temple washing and anointings. Bruce. It's not secret combinations, Bruce. Bruce. Men are judged. He gets this right, because judged is in the scripture, if you read it. By their thoughts. Beliefs. Search for it, you won't find beliefs. That's higher level learning. That's understanding the context. He is correct. You are to be judged by your beliefs as well. Because you have thoughts, obviously, but you may not believe those thoughts. And so it's your beliefs about the thoughts that determines what you speak and what you act out. He forgot actions. And your completed actions, works. There is a difference in works. One of them is an action, the other is the completion. A work of art. I am working on a work of art. And so faith without works, yeah, it's not talking the talk and walking the walk as Christians screw that up. It's talking the talk, walking the walk, and being the being. You are what you think, what you believe, what you speak, what you do. And so, they kind of need to harmonize. If you're going to claim that you're the good guy, nobody ever throws a party for you. Or, Mahana, you ugly. She's got to be ugly in order for your words to be true. Sorry, Daddy. Mahana is beautiful. Leave her alone. She's an 8-cow woman that froze my camera. So I do the videos that condemn their actions against me, and they don't give a damn. They keep doing it. You know them by their fruits. I know the YouTube Mormon employee by his fruits. He is pure evil. And that is a righteous judgment. That's how it's done. Any other way is wrong. So, on former Mormon billionaire loses again to LDS Church, calling law of tithing a donation. We can judge the church's word in the lawsuit by the results. The church lawyers and even the prosecutor with James Huntsman says that tithing is a donation. Oh no, I guess we gotta believe them. No, I just went over with you. We gotta judge the word. Is it true or is it false? Is tithing a donation or isn't it? No, it's not. Section 119 says it's the law. It's not a donation. We have to pay it or we get kicked out of this valley. We get deported from this valley. And so Daniel F. is making a judgment. Is he true or is he false? He says, so, which is a conclusion statement. He's judging. Basically, you're a horrible person. You see what happened? He's claiming I have a tiny little moat that I'm a horrible person because he's the horrible person. And what is even more hilarious, those of you who know Hebrew name meanings, did you catch it? Daniel, judge of God, or the God judge. Hilarious! And he's got his suit and tie just like a missionary or a church leader from the Strengthening Church Members Committee who love to judge. Hilarious. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will bust me up laughing. Because he doesn't know the doctrine that I just went over with you. So many, I've had to do this lesson numerous times in my now over 8.4K videos. I saw the change today. Dear God, Mormons, just stop. The church ain't true. Why? He just confesses he's not following the scriptures that the church claims they follow. He failed. So, all three of these are from the same video. And so the next one is a cartoon picture instead of clean-cut Mormon, therefore he must be true. And so Hayward Jeb Lummy says Jesus is imaginary. Sorry. Okay, yeah, sort of, not quite. He's concluding he's wrong. Jesus is a Jewish character in Jewish prophecy of the Jewish Christ of the latter days. So you're kind of being a Jew hater here. I don't say anti-Semitic, but for those of you who don't know better, that they're actually Hamido, not Semitic. I would then default to anti-Semitic because that's what you know. But nonetheless, and Joseph Smith was full of congestion, clogged up. And so, again, Brigham Young is laughing from the grave. He has fooled another person. Hayward got conned by Brigham Young. He hates the Jews, and now he believes that Joseph Smith is responsible for everything that Brigham Young did. And thus a false judgment, and so guess what we get to do? Yeah, exactly. Hayward is full of. And so, yeah, everything else he says now is automatically wrong. We know this. We don't need to search for every single thing. Maybe he's right somehow. We got to go. We can't hastily judge. No, he gave a concluding statement right at the beginning, and it's wrong. So everything else is wrong. None of it is true. We don't need to go any further. Everybody should have done this with the church. They're wrong. So everything else they say is automatically wrong. We don't go through and say, well, no, maybe because this could be true and therefore the church is all true. No, we already established is wrong. The word, they lied. That's the fruit. They're all wrong. Nothing can be relied on. Nothing can be trusted. They're all wrong. Don't keep looking for ways to prove the church is true. We ran the test. The church failed. They're wrong. Why are you still in the church? It's not complicated doctrine. Real simple stuff. And yet you're clinging to the hope that somehow the church will somehow be true when you know they're false. See, this is denialism. And it's a form of judgment that reveals the worst of human behavior. That despite knowing the truth, you declare openly it's not true. And what happens when you do that to the Holy Ghost, Mormons? Outer darkness. You become a son of perdition. You put me to an open shame. You deny me. When all you had to do was run the test, section 107, 91 and 92, right there for all of you, and you won't do it because you are living a life of denialism, and that's leading to other beams of judgment on your part. And so, yeah, he goes over. Joseph made it all up, stuck his head in a hat, and because he could only read the plates, he's giving legitimacy to the lie of Brigham Young, which Martin Harris technically. Joseph never said this. If that doesn't scream scam to you, yeah, it does. Brigham Young is a scam artist. And everybody who believed and followed him. But this wasn't Joseph. Joseph didn't do this. Joseph had nothing to do with the composition of the Book of Mormon. He didn't read it from plates. He didn't get the gift and power of God. He didn't use a Urim and Thummim. He didn't use a rock and a hat. He didn't make it all up. Joseph had nothing to do with any word in the Book of Mormon. None whatsoever. Because I ran the test. And so, yeah, he's saying that if you believe lies, you've got something going on in your head that's wrong. But he himself, there's something very wrong going on in his head because he made a false judgment. Sorry, Hayward, you failed. And Chris Pfeiffer, Michelle Pfeiffer's son, is he a Mormon? Or is it a she? I got some kind of, is that a side profile of a skull? Can't tell. Anyway. And so, Chris, male or female, I don't know, is using emotional guilt trips on me to misjudge me. Because I agree with Chris on many of this stuff. But Chris comes to one video, misinterprets, misunderstands, does not know the bigger context, and thus falls for the trap that the Bible warned Chris not to pull, and Chris pulled it. And so Chris becomes guilty, even though I agree with a lot of what they're saying. Just like I agree with the final statement of Hayward. But wrong conclusions. So Chris says, wonder how Jesus would feel. Jesus isn't real. Jesus is imaginary. Second, Constantine, with the first creed of Christianity, made Jesus. That it's no longer by a Jewish author about the Jewish Christ to come in the future time after the Roman period. And so Constantine, with that first creed, forced those who had their different religions to become one and do away with their Christ. He's now saying, Jesus is now the name of your Christ, and Jesus has the nature and character of not real. And who's he on? He made up the word. It doesn't exist. Thus, Jesus' nature and character does not exist. Not real. And there are over 4 billion people on the earth right now who believe in not real Jesus. And so, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints thinks they're clever. They agree with the first creed of Christianity except for the nature and character. Oh, they're so clever because Joseph Smith said that the Father and the Son have a body of flesh and bone as tangible as man's. Separate and distinct. So it's non-Trinitarian. But you're ignoring Joseph Smith in the first vision in verse 19. That the whole creed, all of Christianity, is all wrong, abominable, and corrupt. You can't just change one word from the whole and now claim it's all true. Every single word has to be gone over. And once you start with Jesus' nature and character that it's not real, all the rest ain't real. You don't need to go any further. The first creed is false. It is corrupt. It is all wrong. It is abominable because of what they did to the Jews with it. Right, Hayward? And so, non-Trinitarian Jesus has no feelings. He is incapable of feelings. And yet, feelings is how Christians believe that not real can be real for our truth. I feel Jesus' love for me. He has no love for you. He's not real. He has no feelings. He's non-Trinitarian. Why are Christians not understanding this? Why are Christians making up their own Christianity, their own personal Jesus. Numerous songs on that. All of them good. But about your thoughts, there's the judgment. They're assuming on illegal immigrants. So, what about the Jewish Christ? How would he feel about my thoughts on illegal immigrants? Did you run that test yet? He has feelings. Mockery, sarcasm, condemnation for evil. Illegal immigrants. My thoughts are that our government has been corrupted. They are not following the words of our Constitution. They are not giving life, liberty, and property to all citizens, as defined in the 14th Amendment, Section 1. And therefore, our Congress has failed to do their job with immigration. Whether they need more judges, whether the judges need more accessible information to make informed rulings, to let the process go quicker, rather than milking the system to keep their job and their lifestyle from the payment that they receive from it. It's covered in the Book of Mormon, by the way. The lawyers work with the judges to make false accusations to bring cases to court by which they then get paid. And so everybody should be given an opportunity to have their day in court and, if approved, be granted citizenship. But the process purposely delays granting of citizenship. And thus, we have a whole backlog of people who are now in America waiting for their judge. And what do? How do they live? Technically, they're not illegals because they're going through the process. It's like this apartment. If I'm going through the process of certification, I am not illegally occupying the apartment. Same thing with illegals. If they are trying to go through the process, then they are legally following the rules. So they're not illegal. Now, they claim that by shutting down the ports of entry, that therefore others who try to sneak into America are therefore illegals. And yeah, people should be made aware that they need to go through a port of entry to follow the due process Congress has laid out. But when you shut off the ports of entry, when you have it as long lines, purposely having all sorts of red tape to make it complicated, to make sure, are you sure you really want to become an American? Are you sure you really want to have refuge? When people are then getting tortured because they have nothing with them. And they aren't being allowed to get a job, they have to wait in line for months, then yeah, many are tempted to sneak in. But that is Congress's fault. The president is not responsible for what Congress's duties are in the Constitution. And so Trump purposely blames the legal system on Biden claims that there are terrorists in our country, and use the small sampling of those who do commit crimes in America to justify the whole being a national emergency, as he's then using this to threaten Mexico and Canada to say, hey, tariffs unless you stop sending in illegals through the ports of entry. All of this is wrong. We know this by the fruit. The system is easy to fix, but it's broken, and they broke it on purpose to cause the problem, to cause Trump to come in and do what he's now doing. I am not for Trump. I am not for the Democrats. I am for the Constitution, 14th Amendment, Section 1. So, that's my thoughts on illegal immigration. So, let's go on to see what else they say. Trying to demonize immigrants, that's what Trump's doing, not me. Why are you saying that I'm demonizing immigrants? And you don't put illegal, I noticed. See, we're in agreement with that. I just told you that. By listing them along with terrorists shows exactly who and what you are. I didn't do that. I didn't say that. Trump is. You are misjudging. You're claiming that I am the one who is Trump. You do know Trump is president, right? You do know I'm not Trump. I mean, I don't wear the wig or paint my face orange. You do know this, right? You're not colorblind. This is pale skin. I mean, seriously, Chris, what the hell? How could you be that abusive to think that I'm going to be guilt-tripped? Oh no, yeah, you got me. This is a demonstration of intentional auditory illiteracy. You heard my video and you picked and chose what you wanted. Being clueless about the big picture of Trump being president and doing this. Saying that I'm responsible. Bleep you, Chris. Religion is only a shield to hide for you all. You do know I'm not Christian, Mormon, even Jewish, or Islamic, Hindu, or Buddhist. Did you know, Chris, that I'm a pre-Babylonian captivity Jewish Egyptian? You didn't? Huh. But why are you demonizing me? See how easy it works? See how over 4 billion being conned are guilty of this basic biblical precept that none of them ran the test for. I'm sure they all know it if I were to say the key words from it. But they have become the corrupted fruit because they don't believe it and don't follow it. I can now judge Chris for their false accusation of me. So LDS, evangelical Christians, Catholics. Interesting they separated them. You're all doing the same thing, openly supporting a felon. Yep, I agree, but Chris has only come to one video. They've not seen the videos where I called Trump out as violating Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, along with the Mormons in Congress. Right, Senator Lee? None of them are allowed to be in office. They're all supposed to be locked up as insurrectionists, not just for his crimes that he's been granted immunity from by SCOTUS. And so here Chris keeps on going with their hate, their bigotry, their racism of me, all to further your... This is sad, Chris, because you're digging a deeper pit for yourself. This is a longer paragraph. Others aren't the issue. Your mirror is. He knows the precept, and yet doesn't know it. He's using it as a weapon. I always hope people will see the light. Your light? Dear God, no. Or learn to be more empathetic. See, I'm not seeing how you're trying to legitimize immigrants in a broken system. I'm not seeing how you're going to come up with an explanation to solve the problem. Unfortunately, the damage this is doing to other human beings is terrible, especially dealing with immigration. Our system is broken, and it was intentionally broken. Yeah, I just said that. We agree, but I gave a solution. What about you? No different than they are doing to public education. Cut funding, limit access, the list goes on. So how do we fix it? I told you how to fix it. Follow the Constitution. Look at the last immigration bill written by Republicans. It's so sad. I am not a Republican. There is no such thing as a Republican anymore, Chris. I warned you guys in videos. The deep state Dem press are continuing to lead you astray, as the Democrats themselves, the deep state Dems themselves, in calling MAGA the GOP or Republicans, when they covered it themselves with those who did not qualify to be MAGA and were booted out of MAGA party. Liz Cheney, for example, she is no longer allowed to be a Republican, no longer allowed to be a GOP, because it no longer exists. It's MAGA, and she was rejected by MAGA. Nobody is making this change. This is a factual change that has taken place. This is MAGA. This is not the GOP. This is not the Republican Party. MAGA. And they are not making this change. The election, it's not supposed to be DNC and GOP, or whatever the other one, Republican National Convention, RNC. No, MAGA. Trump is MAGA. Make the change. Report it correctly. Talk about it to the news correctly. When they have votes, it's still Dem and Republican. No, MAGA. Make the change. Let people know the truth. And so there are no such thing as registered Republicans anymore. They're MAGA. People need to know they're registered as MAGA now. There is no Republican Party. It's gone. Who voted against it to keep the problem, do Trump, to whine about, do better. And this kind of a person, they're not wanting to listen to me. They've already made up their mind, and I can't get through to them. I can't give them a second chance by just deleting their comment and hoping that they'll come to more videos and figure it out. Oh, he is against MAGA. Oh, he supports... Oh, crap. I was wrong. I shouldn't have said those words. I now regret my words. Why, Mormons? Why? Why will you not learn? Why do you insist on being evil? So, and this goes for, ex-foes as well, not just never-knows. Because as ex-foes, as I covered in the last video this morning, I then did a little outline for it. The majority of you left the church because of a lie of some form or another. Whether you believe the lie is true, like Alyssa does. Nobody's watching her videos anymore of mine. YouTube shut them down because of the popularity I was getting, and that's why the copyright for clip violation that wasn't even by that person, and thus they shut me down. But nonetheless, yeah, you left because of a lie. Whether you believe that Joseph Smith was a polygamist after all, that the church finally confessed, yeah, Joseph Smith was a polygamist, he raped little girls and had committed adultery. It's true, we confess. Whether you believe that lie that they were covering up previously, or whether it's for translation, whether it's for, tithing not going for the poor, lie. You left. But you don't want to learn more. Because there's always a reason why people lie. There's something they're hiding and covering up from you when they lie. And so for most Mormons who leave, they don't care to know. I don't understand why. I want to know why. I want to know what the truth is. I found out the truth. And so, as the comment replies previous in the video, there was one who left the church because he knows that it's greedy. It wants money. And so his reason for leaving was the greed of the church. So that's beyond lying. That's an explanation of why they lie, like Oaks. You can't trust the information given by a person who practices priestcraft. As Oaks is a priestcrafter. It's hilarious. But there's more to it. And so the other guy on that comment video reply said the church is criminally corrupt with the financing. They're committing crimes, not just being greedy. And so he didn't understand that as a 14-year-old boy, the church is stealing children's money. That is a crime. But yeah, he did understand the lawsuits that are going on against the church for their financial crimes with tithing. And so he sees it as criminal, not just greedy, hoarding money. and lying about it, claiming that it's the Lord's law of tithing, but calling it a donation. Because then, once you understand that they're corrupt, committing financial crimes, you need to understand this is a worldwide criminal operation. This isn't just a small town church, one church building, and the preacher is lying, telling people that Jesus said to pay him money or he's going to be murdered by Jesus. He has to buy some yachts and some jetliners to do God's work. Televangelist humor. Or is guilty of SEC violations, and so they got punished for $5 billion. No, we're talking a worldwide organization committing these corrupt financial frauds and crimes. See, now we're talking about a secret combination, a criminal organization worldwide. And so when you see the church news of Nelson talking with world leaders, yeah, it's business deals. They can show you the picture of Nelson handing them a Book of Mormon. But that is the cover now. We now know them for who they are. We've run the test. And so as we keep doing research into the church, we're starting to find out more. And now it's getting darker, scarier, evil. It is beyond just lying, being greedy, being corrupt. They are a worldwide specter, James Bond, of a criminal organization. And then, as I've found out, doing the documents, Stanford helped with the edition from February 1851, this church is not just a criminal organization. They literally are mankind's enemy. That they are the 1%. They control everything around the whole world. And here I am, all by my widow Wosom, standing up and challenging them, defying them, condemning them. Little David up against mighty Goliath, throwing stones at the wrong people. Oh my God, that primary. You probably missed that conference of mine. She made me so angry. She was telling little kids over the pulpit of conference to stone other kids that don't follow your religious standards and values that we tell you to have. Oh my God. And talk about your twisting of scriptures. David and Goliath. So yes, you cannot go it alone. You literally need somebody to save you. And this church just refuses to stop being evil. Extreme evil. Should that be the theme song in the description below? Dio. Haven't heard that in a long time. Okay. Alrighty. And so yeah, there's some other stuff. I'll put the Stellarium pick for you. The moon is in Aries. It's getting closer to when it'll be covering over Mars. Nelson, tithing settlement. Nelson, Nelson.